What's going on? Welcome back to On Tap Bets. I am your host, Joey Ricotta at Joey Knows Nothing on Twitter, with the man himself, Jack Bushman at Jack Bushman2. We are back after a few-week hiatus since the Open, really. We have not done a show since the Open, scheduled conflicts, such and such. You get the drill. But, Jack, first week of the playoffs, we've got the St. Jude Championship, first week of the FedEx Cup Playoffs. I'm excited. I know some people don't get up for the playoffs. We just kind of talked about that off air, but we do. We like making money. We like placing bets. And yeah, man, how are you doing today? Before we kind of dive in here, let's see. Let's do a little heat check. How are you feeling after the Open and everything?
I'm a little broken. I'm not going to lie. Rory McIlroy, leader by 4 shots, about to go into the back 9. I'm sitting crystal clear with my feet up in Chicago, thinking it's going to be a nice payday, thinking that after coming so close twice in majors, Rory second place at Augusta, Scheffler and Will Zalatoris at the U.S. Open, felt like Rory was bound to hit for me. It was just going to be the perfect redemption story. Going to make my whole betting season a whole lot better. And what happens? Cam Smith gets on fire with the putter, and Rory can't make a single putt whatsoever. If it's outside of 4 feet, it ain't going in. And it broke me. It really did break me. It's the sum up of this entire season, Joey, is me getting second places, coming so close. And then, to add insult to injury, you cash a Cam Young first-round leader, cash Cam Smith. It's like a $1,400 payday for you or something. I don't even want to know what it exactly was. But, yeah, man, it's been tough for your boy over here. But I do love the FedEx Cup playoffs. I know, like you said, not a lot of people care all that much, but I really do. These events, especially last year, I thought were phenomenal. The BMW with Cantlay and Bryson going back and forth was awesome. The Tour Championship, Rahm and Cantlay coming down to the 18th hole. Like, I really do love the playoffs. It gets me going. And I know for some players who are kind of far back, I think they probably understand that, getting that $18 million championship is a little bit of a long shot, but there are a lot of guys who, I'll tell you, that have that opportunity that are in the mix and are going to be fighting hard to take home nearly $20. So I'm excited for the event. And as we've seen basically the entire second half of the season, Joey, we were just talking about this off air as well, but ever since the PGA Championship, it's been mostly the cream of the crop has been winning these events. Like, no winners below 40-1 unless you caught it live somewhere, but pre-tournament, no winners above 40-1, I should say, since KH Lee way back at his course where he goes back to back. So I'm excited. I think there's going to be a lot of big name players who are going to be gunning for that payday. And a lot of big name players have been playing well here as of late, and should bring out the best of all those guys. So I'm pumped for this tournament to get started, but man, I really need a winner. Like, that's the only thing on my mind. It's been brutal. I've only won a couple this year. I've won Rory at the Canadian Open and I think John Rahm in Mexico, and both those were under 12-1. So it's like, Jesus, nothing's been going right for me, but it would feel a little different. And if I could cap off the season with a dub, I think it would write the narrative a little bit differently. So hopefully we can cash this week, buddy, because I could certainly use a little moolah in my bank right now. I got some car problems going on for those listeners out there. So if someone wants to hit for me this week and help me out with some new parts, I wouldn't be opposed. I would not be opposed one bit. We
should drop your Venmo or PayPal link here in the comments.
Yeah, hit me up. I should start a GoFundMe or something. I'm poor, man.
Why not? Yeah. Help Jack out. You've been these second place finishes, or
they don't pay anything. They pay me literally $0. You might as well come in dead fucking last. Help me out.
Absolutely. You didn't even get a chance to.
In my Twitter account. Help me out.
You weren't pussing out. You weren't like cashing out when Rory had a shot there. I mean, like, listen, I did hit Cam Smith, but like I got lucky. Let's just say that he had a great tournament, but like, who would have thought, like you said, he was going to birdie the remaining holes there at the end of that Open? And like, the only reason why I had Cam Young in the first round leader is because of you talked me into it for basically like you were on him to win the tournament. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I believe in him to win it, but I'm going to go with the first round leader. And dickhead me didn't even say anything to you about it. I'm just like, you know what? Let's just throw a dart out there. And then you're like, what the fuck? Why didn't you even tell me about this?
I remember that conversation because I remember going through the Open. I'm like, listen, Cam Young just finished top 3, 2 events in a row. All of a sudden, he has one bad Sunday and misses the cut, and he was like 130-1. I was like, isn't this number enormous for Cam Young?
Yep.
And it wound up being very enormous, even though he didn't cash. That was a very generous number that was offered by the sports books on Cam Young.
Absolutely, and somebody could have, if they would have bet the him to win, maybe they did cash out at some point when he was like in a good spot. And I'm not saying, I know the way you are. You want to get a winner. Like, you're not going to cash out. You're going to ride that thing, and I don't blame you because that's where the money is. So why would you cash out and just get like a percentage of it? Just take the whole thing.
I made the bet. You made the bet. You know what's coming back if it hits.
You believed in it. You believed in it,
believing that it was going to hit. You got to follow through.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, Jack, with that said, I've been getting all the luck. You have not been getting the luck, but you've been placing some other good wagers, and you still have been on the right track. Like these second-place finishes, eventually they're going to turn into some first-place finishes because that's just the luck of the draw sometimes. You're on the right path. Like we can confidently say that Jack Bushman is on the right path. And then hopefully, your car will be on the right path once somebody drops you some money in the Venmo account or whatever. But Jack, let's go ahead and get into it. What do you say? I'm excited. We obviously we're at St. Jude, the St. Jude Championship. It's at TPC Southwind this week. This is a par 70 course, just over 7,200 yards. So, this is middle of the pack in driving distance, but I think driving accuracy is going to be huge this week because I don't know, just positioning yourself. Like there's a lot of problems. Like it seems like the fast, slopey, grainy Bermuda greens could be an issue, but I don't know, man. Like you got to avoid the sand in the water this week. You're probably good. You avoid the sand in the water, you're probably good. Jack, give me like your course breakdown. What do you see playing out, and what are you watching for here from golfers? What are you targeting because of the course?
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of good stuff there. I think driving accuracy is going to be super important here. It's not a course where you can just bomb it and get lucky. That's just not going to happen. There is water everywhere along this course. And if you hit bad shots, wayward drives off the tee, you're going to be penalized. So I'm really looking for accurate drivers. Now, accurate in distance is always help. You'd like to have a little bit of an edge. Mm-hmm. I think iron shots are going to be very big this week. They always are, but in a spot like this, if you go back and look at some of the data among top 10 finishers, top 5 finishers, and winners, a lot of it is coming from the strokes gained on approach, not losing your ball off the tee, put it in the fairway, give yourself a good spot, go hit greens in regulation. That's the key. Hitting greens in regulation, giving yourself opportunities, not having to have a difficult shot, get up and down and save par. Not saying that's impossible, but those are the stresses that usually take people out of contention at a course like this. So yeah, driving accuracy is going to be big for me. Strokes gained approach, really the tee to green game is something I'm going to be looking at. Opportunities gained is going to be big. I also think bogey avoidance could be big here because looking at some of the scores in the past, you usually see the winner around 10, 11 to 13, 14 under. That's usually where it is. Now, we have seen Abraham Answer get to 16 under last year. Brooks Koepka did as well. But going down the track record, historically, usually it's in that 10 to 14 type of range. So it's not a course that you're going to be making a ton of birdies on. Now, you want to take advantage of them when you can, obviously. But par could be your friend at a course like this. You need to add the birdies in there, but trying not to make bogey is really going to be helpful here. And with this being a par 70, it's only 7,200 yards, but for being a par 70, that is still relatively long. Like you go look at Sedgefield last week at the Wyndham, par 70, but much shorter of a course. This is still a difficult course, even though it is 7,200 yards because of what the per par, the yardage is still very difficult. So those are really the things that I'm looking at in particular. One thing I've also kind of found interesting when doing some research on this course in particular is that you don't really need the putter to be on fire in order to win here. Like you need to make your putts, but the irons and putting yourself in a spot to go make 5, 6, 7 footers, like that's really going to be the key. We've seen Rory in the past year lose strokes putting and finish near the top. Justin Thomas, I believe, lost strokes putting in 2020 and won this event. Like strictly with his irons and keeping the ball dry and not hitting it into bad spots. So you don't need a flaming hot putter to get the job done. And I think that kind of opens up the field a little bit more for who can actually win here. based on some of the player profiles and some guys we usually cancel out because we never know if they're going to make enough putts, aka my boy Corey Connors. You already know he's going on the bet slip because, hey, he doesn't have to putt. Love it. Throw me some Corey Connors. But
aka rhymes with Bill.
Yeah.
Somebody else that we'll get to too.
I'll probably have money on that really can't putt. But that's kind of the breakdown I'm really looking at this week is accuracy off the tee, leaving yourself in good position. You got to be super good tee to green and someone who gives themselves opportunities and also avoids bogeys at a good rate. Those are kind of the key statistics I'm looking at when deciding who I want to put on my betting slip this week.
Great points. Great points. I mean, I love that you mentioned the putter not really needing that to be a huge factor this week. TPC Southwind had the lowest 3-putt percentage and highest percentage of made putts from 5 to 10 feet and from 15 to 25 feet last season. So, I mean, it's not that difficult of a course to putt at. It's just what it seems like, you know.
The greens aren't that difficult to putt on. They're not very big, which is also why 3-putt avoidance is usually down here because you're not putting from 100 feet. So that's also why I think hitting greens in regulation is so key as well, because those greens are a little bit smaller. If you find the putting surface and, you know, with your second shot on a par 4, that's basically going to give you an opportunity to make a par more times than not on a course like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that said, Jack, now that we know what we're looking for, we know what stats you're aiming for, you're really focusing in on, let's go ahead and look at the top of the board here. We do it every week. Every time we do the show, we look at the outright winners first, and then we kind of get into our little, you know, prop bets, top 40s, top 20s, nationality props, head-to-head matchups, all that stuff. But let's go ahead and look at the outrights first. Top of the betting board, 9-1, Rory McIlroy. And then you got this range of 14-1 guys here. Patrick Cantlay, Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, Matthew Fitzpatrick. Cam Smith is 18-1. And then the 20-1 range, we'll kind of stop there for a second, but the 20-1 range, Tony Finau and John Rahm. I know. The giggle in your voice right there.
And John Rahm have the same odds. It's actually bananas.
It's nuts. It's nuts. Like, who would have thought this a few weeks ago that we would even see Tony Finau up this high right now, let alone John Rahm this low? Like, Rahm should be 9-1. Usually Rahm is like 9-1, 8-1. You know what I mean? Like, this is not in majors. Yeah. So like now, I mean, yeah, it's the playoffs, right? It's not technically a major or anything like that, but this is a big event. Like this is big boy land now. Like now that you get to this point of the season still. So yeah, let's start there. Let's kind of go in reverse and then go back to the top. Like, what do you think about that 20-1 range with Finau and Rahm?
Dude, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'd rather bet Tony Finau for sure. I'd rather bet Tony Finau. And my reasoning behind that, I think this week is a lot of the times this season, looking at the past winners, as I've mentioned before, since the AT&T Byron Nelson, which is played at, you could call that course TPC KH Lee because he owns that place. But since then, we haven't seen a winner on the PGA Tour, or at least in the big events, excluding the Barbasol and the Barracuda, ones that nobody watches, that are going on during majors. The winners have been 40-1 or below. We haven't seen anyone hit from above that. And most of these guys, too, have been coming in with some good form before getting those victories. I think good form is proving to be really key right now. Like, that's the trend that we've seen throughout the second half of this season. And John Rahm has just not been himself this year. Like, his one win came at Mexico, and that was kind of a layup if you looked at the field. It was like, John Rahm, you better go beat these scrubs down in Mexico. Like, come on, buddy. And he didn't really produced well in the majors like I was hoping for. He had a decent finish at the U.S. Open, kind of a lackluster Sunday, but really ever since then, we haven't seen any life out of John Rahm. Now, I will say 20-1 is such a generous number for Rahm because I'm a believer that when everybody's at their best, I think John Rahm is the best. That's my personal opinion. There's going to be people who feel differently about that. I think from what I've seen in golf the past 3 years, Dustin Johnson and John Rahm at their best are the best. That's my personal opinion. So getting a 20-1 number on John Rahm, knowing what he can do, yeah, I mean, that's definitely tough to pass up. But given what we've seen so far this season, Joey, all signs are pointing me towards Tony Finau. And as crazy as it sounds, 21 Tony Finau doesn't sound like too bad of a number. So I definitely choose Tony over John personally. Are you feeling the same way?
I am, because it's not that I have like the strong conviction about fading John Rahm, because like you said, when he's on, he could be the best there is. Like, it's not even there are questions about that, like, because there's so many good golfers that when they're on, you could say the same thing about. But like you know, it's just he just hasn't been on lately, not to his standards, and like his off isn't nearly as bad as other people's off, but it just doesn't. Finau's on a heater right now. 3 straight. If he wins 3 straight starts, I mean, he'd be the first time he'd do it since Dustin Johnson in 2017. So, I mean, but it's possible the way that he's hitting the ball right now. He's golfing out of his mind, and he's finishing the job. Now that he's winning again, like, that's the key part. He's winning again. It wasn't that he was a terrible golfer. He just couldn't get it done. Like, people would look at the stats, the metrics, everything behind Finau, and want to bet him week in, week out. We were the dummies for doing it too for such a long time, and then we just gave up because we were like, you know what, he's just never going to do it. Now he's back, and I mean, you know, the 3M Open, the Rocket Mortgage, second at the RBC Canadian Open. I mean, he's just playing excellent golf right now. I mean, he's 1, 2, or 3 in a lot of important stats that I was looking at for this field, for this particular tournament. So, I mean, the recent form being there, nothing crazy here at TPC Southwind as far as like his history here. But yeah, I'm riding it 20-1, definitely over Rahm here in this spot. And I don't even know how I can say that and not like with a straight face, like definitely over Rahm. But that's where I'm starting my card this week with Tony Finau.
One thing I wanted to say about Finau too, that I noticed when doing some research on him, is how well he's been playing on Sundays when in the mix. And that was kind of his Achilles heel a little bit, especially in majors. Like, he's been so close, and the Sunday rounds just weren't what he needed them to be in order to go out and close the job. And we've seen that now out of Tony Finau going into a Sunday with pressure. And, you know, he knows as well as anybody that he's had this kind of thing around him where he hasn't been able to get the job done, even though he's been in contention. Like, he obviously is going to be well aware of that heading into a Sunday when he's, you know, right there at the top of the leaderboard. And he's been able to close the job out with some phenomenal Sunday rounds. And let me tell you, as someone who's had a lot of bad Sunday rounds out of golfers this year, which has led to a lot of second places, hearing that Tony Finau has really thrived under that pressure, both personal and just the game of golf, I think it sets up well for Tony Finau this week. I like where his game's at. I like where the mindset is at as well. Had some really cool comments after that victory saying, you know, I'm just a loser who kept trying. And that's like really motivational, man. Like, I like to hear a guy like Tony Finau who's gone through all that adversity. And yeah, sure, there are people out there saying, oh, what adversity? He's made $100 million. Look, these guys are out there because they want to win. 99% of them are out there because they want to win week in and week out. And they have this inner thing where they know they can play better than what they've shown so far. Like, I'm sure Tony Finau has felt that fire inside, being like, why can't I just get the job done? I know I want to win this. It just hasn't happened. And to hear him just have that kind of perspective, like, really cool. And I'm super happy for Tony Finau. Sad that we missed out because I don't know how many more Tony Finau outrights are going to be cashed if you look at him historically, but he's in a good spot mentally, golfing wise, statistically. He fits this course what I want. I'm betting Tony Finau this week. Don't care.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and, you know, like you said there too, the adversity. I mean, I think a lot of times people forget that, or maybe they just don't realize it. And I'm somebody who doesn't have money. Like, I don't have a ton of money or anything, but like, people forget money cannot buy you happiness. Like, in a lot of cases, it can help you do things that make you happy. But like, how many people that have money are just truly unhappy? Like, and somebody who's been, you know, at that level, I mean, sure, he's got everything taken care of. He's got plenty of money, but like, that inner drive hasn't stopped. Like, there's something that's eating away at him to make him, he wants to be the best and he wants to win. That's his passion. If you're not succeeding at what your passion is, or you feel like you're underperforming to what you're capable of, that's always going to make you unhappy or pissed off. So the fact that he just never stopped trying, like you said, and now he's here, I love that. I love hearing that because it's easy to root for. Like, you know, I want to root for him, and I want to put my money on him. You know, just hearing that because he's got that fight in him. So Yeah, Finau, we're both in on Finau. Was there anybody else that were kind of like working back? Obviously, Rory was at the top of the board. Some very some guys that are killing it this year. Like we talked about, with Cam Smith. We talked about Scotty Scheffler off air. We talked about Xander Schauffele. Like these guys have had incredible years. Like, are you buying into any of these guys between the 9-1 and 18-1 range?
I'm so torn, dude. Like, I'm not gonna bet Cantlay. I'm not gonna bet JT. I'm not gonna bet Cam Smith. Rory will forever intrigue me because he won me this year, and he's also been so close. And like,
that second place finish is killing you, dude. I know
it's really killing me, and I could get him up to 12 with a boost too. I especially knowing that what killed him at the Open on that Sunday round was his putter. He just needs the putter to be okay here. He doesn't need to be lights out. Go drive. The one thing that does concern me about Rory, though, is the driving accuracy. I know he can hit it an absolute mile, but I do have a little bit of concern about him being a little bit wayward here. But, man, I do love me some Rory. And I think the biggest thing for me is mentally, I'm like, Rory has played so well this year. Is all he really going to win is the RBC Canadian Open. Like, he's played such good golf this year, and he's only got that to show for it. That was kind of
hard to believe.
Yeah, it was kind of my mindset at the Open, right? Like, Rory's played so good, and he's really not going to win a major this year. Like, that was kind of my mindset behind betting him then. I could see myself falling into that trap once again this week. I am intrigued by Scotty Scheffler always because I really feel like I've never seen Scotty Scheffler hit a wayward drive. Like, when he gets in trouble, like he doesn't get in trouble very often. When he does, he hits these miraculous recovery shots. I feel like he just plays such a clean game. And again, he doesn't need the putter to be red hot to get the job done here. So Rory and Scheffler were two that really caught my eye. And then Matthew Fitzpatrick too is interesting because I've talked about bogey avoidance, and there's nobody that avoids bogeys better than Matthew Fitzpatrick. Like even at 14 under, I don't know if he's going to make enough birdies to win the whole thing, but I know he's not going to make a lot of bogeys. Such a good scrambler, really good putter, good out of the stand, and he's really improved his driver over the past year or so. That's really what helped him win the U.S. Open. So Matt Fitzpatrick is a little interesting to me as well. Obviously, I am not going to have room to bet all three of those guys, but if I had to pick a lean right now, it would probably be Scotty Scheffler at 14-1 personally if I had to choose one of those three. I might end up getting two, but I like Scheffler, I think, a little bit more than any of those at 14-1 or Rory at 9.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned, obviously, Rory and Fitzpatrick there because those are two guys that have done really well here. Minimum of 12 rounds or more over expectation. I was listening to a podcast. I wish I could shout it out now, but that was a stat that I was like, and it made me kind of like look into it a little bit. I didn't bet either one of them this week, but like those two at Southwind have been better than expectation here at Southwind. And I mean, like, it's not that people don't expect a lot out of Rory or Fitzpatrick now at this point. They're both really solid golfers. I mean, Rory's terrific. Fitzpatrick is solid, like you said, avoiding the bogeys and all that. I don't see him. He just doesn't make too many mistakes. Like that's just kind of his game. And but yeah, I mean that's another reason though to be on those two. So I love those points. As we kind of go down here the list, I guess we're at 22-1 now. We got Willie's. I couldn't even get out his name.
I wonder who it could be.
I wonder who it could be. It rhymes with Bill.
Transmission.
Rhymes with Billy. Can we get this man a transmission? Willie Z. Will Zalatoris. We'll stop there. 22-1. What do you think about Willie Z this week? I know you're in on it.
Yeah, I'm 100% in. Give me Will. You don't have to putt. It's all about greens and regulation, iron, and hitting the ball well off the tee. I mean, give me Will Zalatoris. Like, fits him 280. You don't have to scramble too much around here. It's easy to avoid three putts. And even then, his putting statistics have been a little skewed this season because you can't get data from the U.S. Open and you can't get data from the Masters. And those have been some of his better finishes this year, right? So, like, in Will Z, even though he's, just getting his career started, he's kind of been known to play well in those big events. And we can't really get the data from those events. So a lot of people get scared and think Will Zalatoris, like, I'm not saying Will Zalatoris is a good putter. That's just not true. I mean, it's not. but he's not as bad as some people think he is because you don't get the data from his best tournaments. So I'm not concerned about the putter this week. I love his iron game. I saw some good stuff out of him on the weekend last week at the Wyndham. I think 22-1 is a very fair number in this type of field. As I already mentioned, Wilsey does his best work in these tough fields. I'm honestly surprised. I feel like that number could drop before tomorrow. Like, I haven't bet this yet. I know I'm going to bet Zalatoris, so I should probably just click this in right now because I could see this dropping all the way down to 20 as well.
Yeah, and before you do that, Jack, you might want to check Bet Rivers, our sponsor,
True.
because last night I was able to grab him at 25-1
Lovely.
at Bet Rivers. Promo code ONTAP, Bet Rivers. Promo code ONTAP, get up to $250 deposit match. We just throw the plugs right in there and we keep moving. We don't waste time. There's no long whatever. You get it. Bet Rivers, $250 deposit match. Enter the promo code ONTAP. Willie Z, man, like you said, not a great putter. He's better on Bermuda. So that is something. He's also this is like the perfect spot for him to just showcase that striking ability, the ball striking ability, the strokes game approach. Like, I think it scares me. His driving accuracy scares me a little bit for this particular spot, but I'm not as scared about Willie Z as I am some other guys with less skill. Like, he's got the skill to overcome the driving accuracy issues, I think. So he finished 8th at this course last year. I'm in on him too. Like, I hope you get your transmission, Jack. I hope nobody has to Venmo you or PayPal. You just get it from this tournament, and it is Willie Z, and we can both cash in, and that would just be excellent here. 25-1 at Bet Rivers. If it's still up there, that's what I grabbed it at last night. Next down the board, we have Collin Morikawa. Came down a little bit, actually. I think I grabbed him at a different price. 28-1. Jordan Spieth, 28-1. Cameron Young, same price. Sam Burns, 30-1. And then, man, the guy that's been on fire, Sungjae M, 35-1. Shane Lowry, 35-1. And Victor Hovland, 35-1. Jack, between that 28 to 35 range, anybody in that little bracket?
Yeah, that pocket is very enticing to me. I don't know how many I'm actually going to get on, but I could make a case for a lot of these guys. Did you already bet Morikawa?
I did bet Morikawa. I got him at Bet Rivers. I got him 33-1.
Yeah, so he was there. He's been pushed down a little bit here on DraftKings, but I mean, the same case that you make for Will Zalatoris, you could literally make the exact same one for Collin Morikawa. You could make it for Justin Thomas at 14-1 as well. I mean, all three of those guys are known for being elite iron players who really can't rock all that well. This is difficult for me because my stupid ass bet Collin Morikawa instead of Cameron Smith at the Open, and that didn't go very well for me. And now it's like, well, am I really going to jump back on Collin Morikawa? He hasn't been showing a whole lot of life this year. He hasn't. His best finishes, though, have been at majors. He has 2 fifth-place finishes out of the 4 majors this year. But just besides that, not a whole lot of life. And just hasn't really – I know he's been fighting some swing issues. That kind of concerns me about Morikawa. But we know the upside if he's dialed. And let me tell you, if there's a course that could work well for his game, it's here. So that is a little scary for me. I don't blame you one bit for betting him. I think that 33-1 is a really good number. But – I'm not sure I'm going to get there just because I do like other guys in this range too. I don't think I'm going to get to Spieth. Cam Young, I don't know if I'm going to get to him at 28-1. I wish he was still 130-1 like he was at the Open.
Right.
Sam Burns is someone that intrigues me too. I know he hasn't been showing it much of late, and that's something that I've really honed in on as being a key for me. But I know Sam Burns has that winning upside, and I think it's just one of the fairest numbers out there. Personally, is Sam Burns at 30-1. I think that's extremely fair, especially for a guy who kind of quietly is fighting for Player of the Year and the $18 million champ. Like, he's 3rd in the FedEx Cup right now. He's in there. Cam Smith's going to be Player of the Year after winning the Players and winning the Open, and Scotty Scheffler. Obviously, those two have their majors, and that probably trumps Sam Burns a little bit. But let me tell you, if Sam Burns goes and wins the FedEx Cup, like, he might be PGA Tour Player of the Year, and 30-1 is a very generous number. But I don't think it's as generous as Sungjae 35-1. I mean, this is just – I feel like
– is on fire.
Like that's disrespectful. And especially you don't have to putt that well here. Sungjae is just kind of like a roller coaster ride with the putter. You never kind of know where it's going to be, but – the tee to green game has never been a doubt about Sung J M, and we know he has that upside. And he's also quietly someone who's 10th in the FedEx Cup standings, despite, maybe not having the best all-in-all season until as of late. I think
a win's going to be huge, though, for him.
Yeah, a win would be massive for Sung J. 35-1 is super generous, and I think 35-1 for Shane Lowry is generous too. But I think I do like Sung J and Burns a little bit more over him. One thing I will say about Lowry, though, good putter, good scrambler. Not that means a ton here, but he does play par fours and tough par fours really well. One of the best par four players in the field. So more so than anything than just my picks, I hope that with the information that I'm just spewing, like I said, I can't bet all these guys, but I just want to provide insight or maybe make a case for people who want to bet these guys. I don't think I'm going to bet Shane Lowry, but 35-1 is a fair number for him, knowing what he can do. And also a course where par fours are really going to be key. That seems like a generous number, but if I had to pick a couple out of these range that I'm going to bet, we got Willie Z. Throw him on there. I'm going to have that devil and angel on my shoulder conversation with Colin Morikawa. But I do see me betting one of Sung J M and Sam Burns. And honestly, I'd probably go with Sung J at this point because, as I mentioned a few times on the show, I think good form really means a lot. It's been key for the past 2 months now. So I'd go Sung J over Sam Burns.
All right. Let me be either the devil or the angel, Jack. I'm not sure which one. It's just going to depend on whether I'm talking you in or talking you out of this. And whether you want to be talked in or talked out of this. So I'm in on Morikawa, and let me tell you why. He hasn't shown much lately. It's hard to gauge where his form is. It really is. I'm just shooting for upside here, and that's pretty much it. I just think, he obviously missed cuts at the Scottish and at the Open. That's brutal coming in, right? He's just not – but he was T5 at the U.S. Open, though. This guy can still – fourth in strokes gain approach, great strokes gain off the tee. He's pretty accurate.
Very, very accurate, actually.
Yeah, it's one of the top, as far as even big name golfers, guys that we look at and we're like, oh, wow, where are they at the betting board odds? We know that they're not going to be the biggest payout because they're one of the favorites normally. We're still getting a discount here with Morikawa, and he's one of the more accurate golfers as far as on the betting board odds, and that is something that we've talked about that we're looking for. And lately, in a lot of these tournaments, that's something I've been looking for more and more recently. So it just kind of seems like the courses have kind of fit that, especially when we've been doing these shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much why, again, I will be in on Morikawa, and he could be very hit or miss. I wouldn't shock me at all if he missed this cut.
I might bet him outright, and also might bet him to miss the cut.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly how you want to bet him. You bet the exposure like that because, yeah, you're going to get plus money for him to miss the cut too, right? So I don't know what that is.
I'm going to go take a gander.
Yeah, I think that's something cool that we should definitely talk about or look into. So if you can find that would be awesome. Sunjay, man, I can't blame you, though, for going the Sunjay M route. Back-to-back second place finishes. This guy is dialed in right now. He's – what, did he miss a cut right before that? He's had it was actually the Open Championship. He was T81, but then he missed a couple cuts. But that was, obviously across the pond, too, for the Scottish Open. But I don't know, man. He just seems like he's dialed in, and he's had a great year otherwise. He really, outside of those back-to-back cuts and that T81 – which he might have had a good start to that tournament. I really can't remember.
I can't.
In the Open Championship, so that's something I probably should look into after we get out of here. But I really don't blame you for going the Sunjay M route. I think he should be priced a little bit. That's a very fair price for him. Same thing goes for Sam Burns. Has had a very solid, consistent season for the most part. I love those calls there. Let's go ahead and look 40-1 to 65-1.
Yeah.
40-1. Yeah, we're gonna go a little bit further. Ju Young Kim. I never bet this guy.
It's Tom.
Tom Kim.
Yeah, just call him Tom. He goes by Tom. It's way easier.
I never bet this guy.
Hey, he won last week.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like,
he came out of nowhere though. He legit came out of nowhere, and his win last week got him into this field.
How is he 40-1 then?
Because he jumped on the tour a month ago and has just been competing. All he's done is compete. Good finishes. That's literally all he's done. He's played every week, and he just has good finishes. I'm not going to bet him 40-1 because I don't think a 20-year-old can go back-to-back personally on this type of field. But I could make a case for betting him top 20 or top 40 because he's gotten off to a really consistent start to his PGA Tour career. And we've seen this start come from a few players from over there. Like Sungjae had this similar start when he was a youngin', where he was just playing every week, and that was kind of his thing. And he came out on fire and caught the world by storm. I think 40-1 is too big of too small of a number for me to bet Tom Kim this early in his career.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get there, but I wish I did last week.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even bet last week, so that's a big part of it too. That I wasn't like sitting there and like I knew he won, but I wasn't sitting there and was like, yeah, this is even dissecting it and pissed off because it was somebody that I wasn't on. So that was part of it. But like, you know, for the top 20, like you mentioned, he's plus 170 for a top 20. So
that's the way I'd go if I wanted. If you wanted some exposure on Tom Kim, that's the way I'd go for sure. Winnings, I think, too big of an ask. Yeah,
I agree, especially that young. That's a good number, though, I think, for the top 20. Billy Horschel, Billy Ho, 40-1. Your boy, 50-1 to Real Hatton. You in on your boy?
200-1. I wouldn't throw a penny on him.
50-1.
Yeah, he actually hasn't been bad. I just don't like him whatsoever.
No, I know.
That's of course he likes.
Yeah, that's why I said that. For anybody like watching, listening, that thinks that Jack really likes Tyrrell Hatton. He does not like Tyrrell Hatton at all. So that's why he's your boy. Max Homa, 50-1. Joaquin Neiman, he's 50-1. Russell Henley, 50-1. Then you got the 65-1 range. Seamus Power, Aaron Wise. And I skipped over your boy, your real boy, intentionally. Corey Connors, 65-1, rounding out that little range right there. Are you in on Corey Connors? That is the question.
Oh, who do you think you're talking to, buddy? Almost rude that you asked me that. Yeah, I'm going to bet Corey Connors 65-1. You don't got to putt here. I mean, yeah, fits well. He's accurate off the tee, great with the irons. This is a Corey Connors jam, baby. I'm playing Corey Connors. I played Corey Connors at a lot of dumber spots than this. Like, let me tell you how much money I've thrown into my fire pit on Corey Connors this year. I'm not going to stop now because this course actually makes sense for him.
Yeah.
But after the 35-1, after Sungjae, it's kind of slim pickings for me personally. Billy Horschel is someone who intrigues me a little bit. Had one of his better finishes in his career at the Open Championship. Also won the Memorial, which was a loaded field and a difficult course. Coming in with, semi-decent form, which is important for me right now. I do like Billy Ho at 40-1. Russell Henley at 50-1 too is a little intriguing. I probably shouldn't bet it because Russell Henley literally never fucking wins, but he does have good form right now. Played the last couple tournaments very well. 50-1 intrigues me a little bit, but I personally think I'd rather bet Billy Ho, knowing that these are the type of tournaments that Billy Horschel wins historically throughout his career. The big name, he's won the playoffs before, gotten some wins here at courses, difficult courses like this. So I think Billy Horschel, outside of Corey Connors, of course, I mean, that's a given. If I had to bet someone else in this range, it would be Corey Connors and Billy Horschel, I think. You got anyone from in here?
I'm on your boy.
Yay.
65-1, 28th in driving accuracy. You mentioned him being accurate. I think that's huge this week. You also, at the top of the show, breaking down the course, looking for stats. 4th in greens in regulation. Huge, man. 18th strokes gained total. Like this dude, the tee to green game's been excellent. He's actually gaining strokes there like every week.
Always.
So
Always.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just because you're in on him and I want a piece of the pie if you're going to win something too. And I want you to legitimately win this week. But I also do believe that he's got a real shot to do it, even at 65-1. Even though we've talked about the 40-1, 50-1 range guys and up are not winning lately, this is a spot where Corey Connors is probably mispriced just a little bit, considering the fit for this type of course. So I like Corey Connors this week. I'm very, just like side note, I'm very disappointed in what Seamus Power did the last time we did a show. Yeah, I think that wasn't that my best bet was him to get a top 40?
I think it was.
Yeah, I don't think he got a top 40 at the Open.
I think he missed the cut.
Yeah. He either missed the cut or just like finished I'm pretty sure he missed the cut though. He did not have a good tournament at the Open. I'm not in on him this week. I'm just pissed off. So yeah, I think he started out really good too. Maybe it was either the first round or like the first 9, I want to say, that he started out pretty good, and then it just all downhill from there. But anyways, yeah, I digress. That's pretty much where I'm at. I'm at Corey Connors. The rest of the names, I usually like betting Max Homa. I don't really see it this week. I was considering betting Corey Connors. I think there was a head-to-head matchup with Aaron Wise, and I'm only mentioning that because they're like back-to-back listed on the odds board. So I was considering Connors in that head-to-head matchup over Wise, but I have not pulled the trigger on that. We'll get into all that later on. The only 80-1 guy that I see here before we get to the longer odds of 100-1 is Seabass, your boy. I don't know if he's your boy. I've bet him, though. I think I bet him the last time we talked. Bezadenhout, Christian Bezadenhout. Are you in on him at 80-1? I haven't gotten there.
No, I'm not. It's going to be very slim for me down here. After Corey Connors, it might be 1.
1. Okay. Give me your 1. I'm not going to mention any more odds because we're pretty much 100-1 and beyond now at this point. Give me the odds and give me the guy that you're on. Okay,
so there are 3 who are catching my eye right now, over 100-1, who intrigue me, and I'm probably just going to pick one of them. One is JT Poston. Been playing solid golf recently. The Postman, baby. Mail it in. 100-1. Won the John Deere. Obviously, that is not a very similar field to this one. The John Deere field was horrible, but Poston's been doing a lot of things well recently. Also a really good par 4 player. So I think at 100-1, he's someone I might throw a good old Abraham Lincoln on. Also, Taylor Pendrith has been playing well recently as of late. 100-1. I don't know if he can win this fucking thing. That seems like a lot for Taylor Pendrith to do. But he is one of the golfers down here who's coming in with some good form. Last is Big Papa Pump, as I like to call him, Scott Stallings, baby, the most jacked guy on the tour. Again, a win might be a little big of an ask for him, but he's been playing really, really well recently in the past couple of weeks. I know those fields, for the most part, haven't been good, but it seems like Stallings has found something, so he's a little interesting to me. If I had to go with one personally, though, I'd probably go with Poston, the Postman, because he actually has that winning pedigree, and we've actually seen the upside from time to time. So
I was in on him that week, too. He made me some money already this year.
Postman. How many wins do you have? Like 9?
No. I think I'm at 5. I'm not quite there.
You're up. I mean, you're up there.
I'm having a good season, man. I hate to be like, it's not. I'm not rubbing it in.
No, I'm happy for you.
I'm not rubbing it in. I'm only mentioning it because it just I remember the good things. Like the Postman's been good to me, so like I can't blame anybody for taking a shot at him here. He's somebody who catches my eye when I look at the odds, and I didn't do it, but and Taylor Pendrith, you mentioned Pendrith, strokes gain off the tee. He's finished T13 or better in each of his last 5 events. He's made 14 of 19 cuts this year. He seems to be rolling right now, and I don't know if he actually is going to win this thing. I got him at 100-1, but I do have him later in the program. We'll talk about that, but I did also place a little small wager on his outright. Cam,
I know you got some bombs though, right?
I do have some bombs. I got some bombs.
Let me hear them.
My longest. Do you want the longest one first, or do you want the 2 in between?
Do you have Luke List?
I don't. No.
I was gonna say this is kind of a Luke List jam because you don't have to putt. But yeah, give me the big one first.
Big one first.
Is it fucking Griot?
No, hell no. I would take a Griot top 40 potentially, but I haven't done it yet. I have not done that. I can't get there. I'm not grilling things. Man, the Todd father.
Oh,
Brendan Todd.
That makes sense.
200-1. All right, that's what I grabbed him at on DraftKings. 8th in driving accuracy. Huge stat. We've been looking at that, obviously. 2nd in strokes gained putting. We know the putting that might not matter as much this week, but still, it's solid if you do have that hot putter. So, I mean, that's definitely could be key. 53rd in strokes gained total. Decent around the greens. I doubt he wins, but a solid performance this weekend wouldn't shock me at all. I mean, it's a pricing thing for me. 200 to 1. He has 3 top 20 finishes here at TPC Southwind. 3 top 20 finishes. Who's to say that he doesn't get hot and just stays there? So I do like Brendan Todd this week. 200 to 1. It's a dart throw. We know that at this range. And then, all right, so the 2 guys in between. We talked about Cam Smith. We talked about Cam Young. There's another Cam.
Davis, baby. It's got to be.
Cam Davis.
He's been rolling too.
Yeah, 130 to 1, T16 or better in each of his last 4 events. I don't love his overall driving accuracy, but he's got length. So, I mean, he's 40th in distance and 55th in strokes gained tee to green. So the bogey avoidance has been really good lately as well. So I like Cam Davis this week, 130 to 1. Ches Reavie.
It's a good number for him.
Ches Reavie. I bet you weren't expecting to hear that this week.
No, but I understand. He won recently too. It was a poopy event, but he won.
Yeah. And 150 to 1. That's where I grabbed him at. Accuracy, baby. Accuracy. We're just going to pound the table on accuracy. 4th. He ranks 4th in accuracy. It's in my model. Stats we're really looking at. We keep saying that. I mean, he's had a few missed cuts mixed in between some good finishes lately. Not playing that poorly, right? So, I mean, good at TPC Southwind history, 3 T6s or better finishes here. And each of his last 6 times here, he's finished T27 or better. So, solid strokes gain approach as well, 42nd. Ches Reavie, man. I don't know. We throw darts, but we try to do these calculated, educated guesses. So that's where I'm at. Those are my bombs. I have nothing else on the board, we have these wins, Jack, built up. We could play around a little bit, right? I can afford to just throw a little bit at the dartboard and just see where we end up at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about Reavie there?
Honestly, you might have talked me into Ches, to be honest. Did you get his number at Bet Rivers? I only have DraftKings pulled up right now.
Yeah, my bad. It was 150 to 1 at Bet Rivers.
Yeah, that's at 100 on DraftKings, so
he might have come down though, but 150 to 1 I feel like is a really good number for him.
Yeah, for sure. That is a really good number. 150 is really good for him. I think 130 is good for Cam Davis too. I think the biggest thing about those guys that you chose for those bomber range, maybe not Brendan Todd, but the other 2, they have legitimate winning upside. And Todd, he won back-to-back weeks not all that long ago. It's been a couple seasons, but I know we haven't seen that upside recently from Todd, but these are guys we know that can actually win tournaments. Cameron Davis won last year. Ches Reavie won recently. Again, not the deepest fields, but guys that actually do have winning upside. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find winners that could realistically come from down here, and I think you did a good job at finding guys who actually do have that upside. So all of those picks, I really do like.
Nice. All right. So Jack, let's see what you got here. Do you have any top placements? We'll skip past the nationality props too. If you have some of those instead of top placements, but do you have any top 40, top 20, top 10s, anything like that?
Yeah, the nationality props actually I thought were kind of bad this week. I didn't really see anyone that stood out to me a ton.
Me either.
So I actually kind of stood away from those, but I do have a couple top 40s that that did pique my interest a little bit. Brendan Steele plus 140, I thought was someone who was a little interesting. He can play well with his irons and also can be a good putter. Top 40 isn't that big of an ask for him. I think plus money is a good pricing for him. Also Scott Stallings plus 120 for the same reasons that I think this is probably a more efficient way to bet Scott Stallings because I don't think he's going to win this event. Big Papa Pump, as I should call him. Excuse me.
Papa. Holla if you hear me.
Yeah, for real. I mean, the dude's absolutely yoked. I mean, I'd take Scott Stallings in the octagon over anyone else on the tour. Cam Davis plus 120 for a top 42. Now that you mentioned him in the outright market, that's a number that I could get behind as well. I'm probably not going to take anyone that's minus anything, but there are a couple interesting numbers that you can get above plus 100. Those are the ones that have caught my eye a little bit this week. What about you? You got any top 20s or top 40s?
Well, you mentioned Taylor Pendrith earlier as a potential outright, and I also did do a little outright on him. Plus 110 I found him at for the top 40, so I like that. I mentioned he's made 14 of 19 cuts this year, and then the recent events of T13 or better last 5 events. But of those 14 cuts that he's made this year, he's only finished outside the top 40 3 times.
Wow.
So if he's making the cut, he's more than likely inside the top 40. So and one of those are dating back to like way long ago. You know what I mean? There's
probably
a couple of them.
Probably in the fall.
Yeah. One of them was in the fall, and then I think one of them might have been like in February or something like that too. So he's playing good golf for the most part, really good golf. So Taylor Pendrith plus money, plus 110. I like the top 40 bet. Ches Reavie plus 170. I found him at another book. I think it was FanDuel, actually. I can't really remember here. But, for all the reasons that I'm taking him for the outright, I'm going to go ahead and take him for the top 40. And then the Todd father again, Brendan Todd, plus 230. I grabbed him at on, I don't know what book. I think it was FD as well. So plus 230. And these odds could have changed since we hopped on here, but that's what I grabbed him at either this morning or last night, and I just wrote them down. So those are what I like. And, the 3 top 20 finishes here at TPC Southwind, I think, for Brendan Todd. I think he, it's potential that he could even miss the cut, but, like, if he's not missing the cut, he's probably placing somewhere within the 20 to 40 range, I would assume. So, those are my top 40s. I don't have, just like you, I don't have any nationality props, and I actually don't have any matchups. So are there any matchups that you had this week, Jack?
I don't have any personally, I'm just not a big matchup guy. Usually I just don't even have room for it, to be honest. I'm just betting so many other things. I'm like, I'm probably just going to leave those out. But I mentioned this earlier. I think I'm going to bet Colin Morikawa plus 250 to miss the cut. I don't know if I'm going to take the outright, but I feel like he's either contending for the title or he's not going to be very good. So
it's a good hedge. It's a good hedge bet.
Yeah. And I mean,
honestly,
plus 250 is pretty solid number for a guy who really has not been good for the greater part of 2022.
Yeah, and honestly, that takes away your decision there of like, am I going to go with Morikawa or Sungjae Im? I think that was your decision, right? Maybe it was Sam Burns. I could be wrong. But that takes away your decision. Just bet him to win, bet Sungjae Im to win, and then bet him to miss the cut, because usually it's like it's one of the two. He's either really in there, like he could even take a top 10, or miss the cut, right? Like he's not really a guy that's in between too often.
No.
He's up or down.
The irons are either on or they're not.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Jack, I love it, man. Before you give me your favorite bet of the week, give me your like final thoughts, or like maybe there's something we missed here there's another bet that's kind of that we haven't talked about yet, or something that you're interested in.
Huh. Well, I feel there was something I feel like I missed. Who did I want to go back on? There was someone I wanted to go back on, I felt like. Maybe not. One thing I will say is I really expect the big names to be shining here. The guys who have been playing well, the guys who have been winning recently, I think we're going to continue to see that. There's no reason we shouldn't in a field like this. The tournament is set up for the best clean players to win. Guys who don't get in trouble, guys who put themselves in good spot off the tee, go hit the greens, nothing fancy. So I'm just going to stick to my guns here, man. I've been so close all year. I've been so close. That's what I wanted to bring up. That's what I wanted to bring up. This is what it was, folks.
Let's hear it. I know you're frustrated. Let's hear it.
2021-2022 PGA runner-ups for your boy. Russell Henley, back at the Sony. Will Zalatoris at the Farmers, lost in a playoff to your boy Luke List. You're welcome. Masters, Rory McIlroy. Wells Fargo, Keegan Bradley. U.S. Open, Will Zalatoris and Scotty Scheffler. British Open, Rory McIlroy. I know I don't expect to win all of those. I have 2 wins on the year, I believe. Maybe 3. Yeah, 3 wins on the year because I caught Scheffler at the Arnold Palmer. I have 3 wins on the year. I could have 5 or 6 too. And I don't think, and I'm not allowing that to deter me from my path and how I'm selecting players on my bet slip. I know I'm on the right path. I know I'm doing the research every week. I'm talking with you through these conversations, which I think are extremely helpful because we get to hear each other's opinions on different golfers and a lot of different stats that we each find on the internet and out there. And we've been close. Like, there have not been tournaments, Joey. I don't even know if there's been any tournaments where neither me or you were out of it come Sunday. Like, I
haven't. No.
I don't think there is one. Like, off the top of my head, I don't remember a tournament where we were both dead come Sunday. Like, we've been there. And I think that's, it's not telling in my bank account, but it's telling in my mind that I'm not far off. So I'm going to stick to my guns this week. I'm going to stay true to what I believe in and hope that one of the guys that I bet on actually has a good Sunday, because all those guys that I just listed off that have been runner-ups for me this year did not have good Sundays. So I love the FedEx Cup playoffs probably more than a lot of golf fans out there. I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited to see who's going to come away with it in a couple of weeks, who's going to be PGA Tour Player of the Year. There's a lot of guys in contention right now. It's anyone's to win. So I'm stoked for it, dude, all in all, and I'm going to trust my gut and hope that I have a new transmission by Monday morning.
Yeah, dude, I mean, you said all the right things, in my opinion. Like, you hit the nail on the head. There's a reason why we do these shows. It's not necessarily just for ourselves. Like, that's why, it'd be awesome if we could get some more listeners or people here in the comment section. Like, give us your stats. Give us what you think for the week. Next week we do this thing for the second week of the playoffs. But, like, because, as we do talk through these things, right, like, you help me make up my mind about a lot of things too, like Cam Young. Like I was never considering him for a first round leader until I talked to you. So, like, there's a lot of things here that, like, we unpack as we do these shows, and you're not far off. Obviously, you just ran down the list of runner-ups that you've had this year. Like, those could have easily been all wins, very easily. It's like a flip of a coin. So, I mean, that's how you're on the right track, and I think we're doing something very good here and very special here on this show. But yeah, man, with that said, Jack, I want you to one more thing, like, lighter note. I don't know if I mentioned this. Colin Morikawa. We talked about Morikawa, and we didn't mention this. And maybe it was because we started talking about some other golfers, obviously, as we normally do. But I thought it was funny, man. He was boarding the plane to come here to go to Memphis and for this tournament, and his golf clubs fell out of the airport luggage cart, and they were just sitting there for a few minutes.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, he just, like, I think he tweeted it out, actually. But, like, they were just sitting there for a few minutes, and he's like, is somebody going to get that? Like, like, probably freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, his golf clubs were just sitting there. They fell out of the airport luggage cart. And then finally somebody, like, went and scooped him up. But, man, that was, like, when he was about to leave to come to this tournament. So maybe, just maybe, that helped kind of loosen him up a little bit as, like, holy crap, like, at least I have my damn clubs. Now I can go golf. I don't know. That's just a super tinfoil hat theory. But, Jack, give me your favorite bet. And if your favorite bet is not the winner of this tournament, then give me the winner of the tournament too. Your actual, like you're betting different outrights, but, like, give me your one guy you're most confident in to win.
Will Zalatoris, fucking do it. Fucking do it. Now is the time, dude. Now is the time. This is the fields you love. It's an iron course. You don't got to worry about putting from 80 feet and 3-putting. Just go and do it. Get over the hump. You've been so close. I don't want to see any more Sunday freaking scaries out of Will Zalatoris going wayward when it's down the wire. It's coming down to the wire. I'm going with Will Zalatoris, man. This course makes too much sense. The field makes too much sense. The type of the event it is. It feels like a good spot for Willie Z to get over that hump, where it's a major-esque field, but not a major. It's a big tournament. Course that suits him well. I'm scared about Sunday, but I'm going Will Zalatoris. I don't care. I'm going Willie Z.
I love it, man. The Bermuda Greens, we talked about it being a little bit better for him, so that could come into play. It's not the craziest course to putt on, not the worst. So, yeah, I like that a lot. Is that your favorite bet as well? That's your outright?
Yes, that's my favorite bet. I'm sticking to it.
All right, let's go. I'm in on him too. I hope you're right. And just for the sake of being different, because I feel like that was kind of where my head was too, was like my favorite outright. we're throwing money into the water. We're going deep sea fishing here. But Ches Reavie, 150-1. Let's go ahead. I'm planting my flag on Ches Reavie this week. I know you said I might have talked you into that one. I think he's got a really good shot to do it. I don't know if he's actually going to do it, but that's who I'm pretty feeling real good about Ches Reavie this week as far as my winner. So that's just who I'm going to go ahead and roll with, because if you win some money this week, you can thank me later, because Ches Reavie, hopefully you heard it here.
Well, now I have to bet him, because if Ches Reavie goes on and wins this tournament, it might be genuinely the end of me. I have that with so many people now. That I just keep digging the hole deeper. It's like, oh, if Corey Connors wins now and have money on him, I'm going to shoot myself. If Will Forrest wins now and have money on him, I'm going to hate myself. There's just these situations with so many guys now that I just keep finding myself in. But I might have to hop on the Reavie train. Might have to happen. That's a fair amount.
It's not a bad price. It's really a really good price.
It is.
Favorite bet. I'm going with the top 40 for Ches Reavie. So since I'm taking him outright, and I do love that he's had great success here at this course, and like you said, won recently. Yeah, the plus 170 number, that's looking real good. I got a full unit on that sucker. So hopefully that pans out. Jack, I think we kind of went down our final thoughts, but anything that we missed, anything you kind of wanted to go back to, maybe you want to talk about Colin Morikawa's clubs laying on the concrete or, the airport runway. I don't know, whatever you want to talk about. The floor is yours, my friend, before we go ahead and get out of here.
One thing that my last thought is, if Will Zalatoris is not to win this tournament, I would not enjoy seeing anyone win it more than Tony Finau. I would not I'd be so happy if Tony just goes on a run and all of a sudden people are like, whoa, is Tony Finau the best golfer in the world? That would genuinely happen if he won 3 in a row. People would have that conversation, and Tony Finau would be 12-1 next week, right there with Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy. That's what would happen if Tony Finau wins this tournament, and he deserves it. So if someone were to win this tournament that's not named Will Zalatoris, I'd love for it to be Tony Finau, because I think it would be an awesome redemption story to see him find this form, and now it kind of get the winning vibes, or I'm trying to think of he's understood now what it feels like.
Got the mojo. He's got the mojo.
He won a playoff event last year. He's rolling heading into this. Tony Finau, I think, has the mindset, a great mindset to be in heading into this week. And I think that's as important as anything. I mean, golf is so mental, obviously, and Finau all of a sudden should have this confidence that, hey, I can win just like the rest of these guys. I'm just as good as any of them. It would be a really cool story if Tony win. That's my final thought.
I love it, man. With that said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Before we do that, shout out to the sponsors, shout out to the website. What's on tap in Chicago sports at ontapsportsnet.com. All social media platforms at OnTap Sportsnet. Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox, bets, golf, entertainment, beer reviews, food reviews, all on tap at ontapsportsnet.com. Our sponsor, betrivers.com. Promo code ONTAP, $250 deposit match. That's ONTAP at BetRivers for an up to $250 deposit match. You can find Jack at Jack Bushman2 on social media. You can find me at Joey Knows Nothing. That's nothing without the G. Ends in IN, because that stands for win, baby. Follow us at OnTap Bets, at OnTap Golf. Jack's running that. So, yeah, with that said, we hope you cash all your tickets. We hope you make some money. Jack desperately needs to get over this hump and get a win and get himself a transmission. So, Jack, with that said, crack them, lock them, be safe. What do you say we get on out of here?
Yeah, it's probably about that time. We've been chatting for an hour, so let's get a dub. Let's get into let's just go. Let's win as much money as whoever wins the FedEx Cup playoffs is going to win. Let's just go bananas these next couple weeks.
Yeah, we need a Vegas trip too. All right, let's get on out of here. Good luck this weekend. Have fun watching the tournament.